Hello, Taylor here today to show you how you can do a tiny pour in a tiny space. This little tiny pan will fit on a TV tray, a breakfast tray, a little nook inside of a box, on top of the outside of a box, anywhere. So there's no excuse not to create something. You always have enough space. I will try to make this a very quick video. I'm only using 3 colors and white. And I'm using a dollar store piece of glass and frame. I'm going to take the frame off. And you can get the paints for $1, you can get this tray for $1, which I did, you can get the rack for $1. So not only do you not need space, you don't need a lot of money. You can also go to garage sales or whatever and get them there. I'm going to hit pause for a second, I'll be right back. Okay, a little bit more information. I like to pre-mix my paints, and this is 1 part paint, 1 part Floetrol, and 1 part pouring medium. Just a background. So even though I pre-mix them, sometimes I still need to try to get them to a honey consistency. So I use my tiny little spray bottle, also you can get at the dollar store. Popsicle sticks you can get at the dollar store. I guess the purpose of this video is just to tell you, got no excuses for not being creative. It doesn't have to be pretty, it doesn't have to be museum worthy. Just let yourself have some fun with it. This white is kind of weird. It's been laying around for a while. So I'm not going to bore you with mixing paints. Pretty much I'm just going to add some water. These, which are really kind of flexible, you can find these at the dollar store too. I like using these for most of my pours because you can peel the residue out afterwards and just reuse them a million times. These, it doesn't work so well, so you end up rinsing them and it pollutes the waterways, even though supposedly that's okay. I don't know if I can drink that Kool-Aid. I'll be right back after I'm done getting the paints up to a nice honey consistency. When you're mixing your paints, if it gets lumpy, that just means you need to continue mixing. That's all that means. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with your paint. Be right back. I noticed that the Craft Smart, these little guys are closest to pouring consistency right out of the bottle, so that'll minimize your work. Honestly, mixing your paint, if you're doing it with a thick body paint, that can take you 30 minutes, an hour, just to mix your paint to get them the right consistency, and then you have to mess with them again right before you pour. Anyways, I'm not using silicone, I'm not using any other additives, I'm just using leftover paint that's been laying around. I did notice that not all of them are to a good consistency, and this one's actually a bit runny, so we'll see how it does. We're just playing, and I'm just trying to show you that you can create something in any environment. So let's go ahead and pour these into, I'll go ahead and pour it into this. We're going to start with our white. We've got a lot of bubbles. I'm also not using a torch. I'm not using a hairdryer. I am just going to do a pour from here. And you know what? I'm not even going to fret about putting in another cup. Well, yeah, that might actually exceed the shot glass, so I'll go ahead and put in another cup. That was a good theory. Be flexible, and yeah, see, that's pretty watery, so can you see that? Yeah, you can. So I'm not sure how that's gonna go about. Let's give it a go. Let the pouring begin. High up. And this one's rather translucent, so it should be interesting to see how it dries. This one's was the best one, closest to honey. I'm actually going to water it down so it matches the others. I think the main idea is to get them all to the same viscosity. Yes, if you have it to honey viscosity, then it's a lot slower moving, and you might have a little bit more control, if you want to say that a pour ever has control. Let's go in with a pink. Me and pink generally don't get along. I'm sure if you've watched more than 2 minutes of any of my videos, you've seen that. It's funny, I found the statistics thing, and most people only watch my videos for like 2 minutes each, and I thought that was really funny. I thought, why would you subscribe to someone that you actually don't really want to watch? But then again, I thought, well, I kind of zipped through some of those videos too that I actually do like, probably only for 2 minutes, just because I like to get to the pour, right? Okay, spending lots of time, too much, I apologize. I want you to last more than 2 minutes here. I assume it will not be the greatest looking thing, and that's okay. Yeah, see, I was hoping to only put in as much paint as would fill 1 shot glass, and I definitely exceeded that, especially after I watered it down. Okay, yeah, that's way too much paint. It's about ½ an inch. Can I It's about half an inch up the cup, and that's going to exceed this piece of glass. And I'm just using a piece of glass from a frame from the dollar store. See how this does. And yes, you might like this, you might not. It's funny, when you first pour things, you love everything you do, and then you start hating all your old stuff when you look back. Okay, I'm going to let that sit for a minute. I'm going to put you on pause so you don't get bored out of your mind. Now for the big reveal. And that, ooh, look at that slip sliding. And I like to add elements back through the center because we're going to lose a lot of the center and we'll lose all of the edges. Yes, there might have been some cool stuff there, but there was more cool stuff beyond that. Do the usual, I'm going in this direction. We'll go back up. Oh, that's a neat blob. I don't know if it's a blob. Looks like a blob. Or anyways, roll. You know I like to roll things. Have some cell action going on, so that's kind of cool. It's very cool. It's probably from the Floetrol. I don't use corner catchers. I use my fingers and my hands, usually that have gloves. Now see how you have to pay attention to the direction that your paint's going, especially if you do want to do a semi-planned pour where you don't have a lot of zigzaggy. See, your cells will become more and more elongated as you move, and that's why we use the torch a lot of times towards the end. So apparently, I do not know what that little booger thing is. So we have a lot of movement, and we actually maybe didn't have enough paint. Yeah, I'm not a real good judge of how much paint I need. If you watch any of my videos, you've also seen that. For better or for worse. So we've got a lot of cell action from that pink, which is surprising. So that means something else is falling around the pink. I'm going to assume maybe the dark blue, because the dark blue had Floetrol. So we're going to have a lot of stretching and a lot of zigzagging. If you don't want that, so you want more paint. It's interesting, probably won't keep it, but that's what experimenting is about. And a lot of people like to just pour it and wait for it, you know, immediately stop it once you've covered the surface, but your painting will continue moving. As long as the paint is moving, you've got potential for uber coolness. So let it keep going. Anyway, so this is a, I don't know, 8 by 13 cookie pan and a rack inside, and that's all the space I really did need. You could put your stuff in a copy box, and then you've got some place for it to dry when you're done. You just don't need a lot of space for these paintings. Well, when you're creating them. When you're storing them, whole nother animal. You will have paintings all over the place, and you'll love them all for the longest time, and you'll not want to let them go. And at some point, just like all clutter, either paint over it, give it away, or donate it and hope somebody loves it as much as you did. See, I'm just trying to stretch it. So now this video is longer than I wanted it to be because I'm letting the paint continue to do what it wants to do. And I'm also getting stripes down the side, which is what happens when you're stretching your paint. But I think we're getting some really interesting stuff going on, except there. It's not as interesting as I want it to be. But if I let it keep moving, it will continue to create some visual interest. Let it flow back onto itself so we have good coverage. So it doesn't look too cluttered at this end, we hope. So I'll let them rock back and forth until I get them as even as I can when it comes to visually. I think you can see what I mean. Well, thank you for dropping by. Have a great day. No excuse not to paint. Anybody can paint in any space at any time. It's a quiet hobby. You don't have to worry about disturbing your neighbors. So go play. And perhaps I will put this on Instagram when it's dry if it comes out cool. Bye.